is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and it's a day game. Beautiful afternoon, over 40,000 expected. We're at Busch Stadium, and this afternoon it's the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. With Jim Hayes and Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals send Carlos Martinez to the mound here this afternoon.
Well, Carlos Martinez has been on fire here recently. I know he had the rocky one in his debut, but his last couple of outings have been outstanding. You see the stats right here, and his last time against the Reds, battling Homer Bailey, punches out 11. He has been on fire.
Using that cutter against lefties, and he always has a very good slider. Best sliders in town, the lowest opponent average against the slider since 2016. And Carlos Martinez in the top 5.
Well, you think about what he can do with the sinker, it just opens up everything away with the slider, and that's pretty good company that Carlos Martinez finds himself in.
The Reds, the Cardinals, St. Louis dominating this series here as of late. Baseball is coming up. Steak and Shake. Mix and match any 2 items for just $3. Better burgers, better prices, Steak and Shake. By Missouri Baptist Medical Center. Doctors call it world-class medicine. You'll call it Mobap. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Big crowd here at Busch Stadium. And Carlos Martinez gets the call today. St. Louis trying to make it 2 wins in a row in this series. A tsunami alert coming up. First ever bobblehead inside a Major League Baseball stadium. There was one done in the minor leagues, but today Dexter's first, and a lot of folks want it. Over 40,000 here at the ballpark in St. Louis. It is a tight, by the way, Central Division, and this may be, Brad Thompson, the way it all plays out as Carlos Martinez takes to the mound. But you have Pittsburgh leading the Cardinals in Milwaukee by a half game. Chicago game and a half out. Yes, it's early, but this may be what we're seeing all summer long.
Well, hopefully it is. Hopefully it is a battle here. Now, the Pirates have been a great story early on. They've been getting some great pitching, swinging it well, and winning a lot of ball games. Who knows if they're able to sustain it? But the Central has got a chance to be one of the toughest divisions in all of baseball.
There's a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Carlos Martinez.
How many fingers does Yachty have?
How many
Is it 6 on the one? That's going to be tough to call all of those pitches right now.
Well, they've got it down. They'll figure it out.
I think he will. He's been doing it for a while.
Take a look at the Reds lineup. Jesse Winker, Jose Peraza, and Joey Votto. Scooter Gennett bats cleanup. And then Adam Duvall. Scott Schebler returns to the starting lineup today for the Reds. Big numbers against the Cardinals a season ago. Tucker Barnhart, Alex Blandino, and the pitcher Homer Bailey. Let's turn to Brad's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, for Carlos Martinez, we know how great he has been, but he needs to set the tempo early. If there's a time to get to him, historically, it's been in the first inning, and he's found himself in a little bit of trouble there. Even this year, with all the success that he's had over a 5 ERA last year in the first inning, set the tempo early. And for the Cardinals today, add on. When you get an opportunity, when you have guys on base, left 11 on yesterday. That game was tight, albeit a couple of ground rule doubles that took away a couple runs from you. But when you do have the opportunity, you got to cash in on some of those.
So Billy Hamilton is on the bench today. And for the second straight game in this series, Jesse Winker will bat leadoff. There's a look at Jim Riggleman, the interim manager, after Brian Price was let go. Mac Jenkins as well, the pitching coach. And the first pitch by Martinez is fouled back, and we're underway. 61 degrees here in St. Louis. The lights are on here at the ballpark. Overcast skies. Very tough start clearly for the Reds. 3-16. They have won one game in their last 10.
Jim Riggleman's got himself a bit of an uphill battle right here. You're taking over for a team. You start out 3-16, and it's hard to believe that the atmosphere is too live in that clubhouse. He's got to do something to change it. He's got to mix it up and got to change their fortune.
And the 0-2 is off of Martinez to Carpenter, and safe at first. And Winker is aboard. See where it catches Carlos Martinez. Looked to be on the right leg or foot. Carpenter made it close, but safe at first.
It fortunately didn't catch Martinez too cleanly up the middle. DeYoung was there for it, but a lot of times as a pitcher, you can't get yourself out of the way. That ball finds you.
Here's Jose Barraza, leads the club in doubles with 6 and batting .239. Drops down a bunt. Carpenter to first. I'll tell you what, Jose Martinez might have been off the bag. I talked to Jose the other day about this. They are still teaching him to try to sell it, and I'm not sure why, because replay will tell you one way or another if he's on the bag.
I'll tell you what, it is very close there. You're absolutely right. The way that position, I think all positions are being coached is different now. The tag, they used to tell you to get it in, get it out, right? Just sell it like you got it. Well, now you got to make sure you keep it on. And it's the same thing with your foot over there at the bag.
They will not challenge. The sacrifice will go 5-3, and it brings in Votto. Joey Votto 0 for his last 11 against Cardinals pitching, and just 3 hits in his career, 21 at bats against Carlos Martinez. It's only, though, a matter of time.
It is for sure, and the Cardinals have done a very good job with Joey Votto of getting inside, making him uncomfortable, even up and in to set up everything away. Joey Votto is too good of a hitter to just pump him strikes all the time. You have to move his feet a little bit. A couple of good pitches by Carlos Martinez. Doesn't get the call on either one at the bottom of the zone. You see a fastball in the mid-90s and then that changeup right off of it, but all of a sudden you're 2-0.
Reds overall as a team struggling with runners in scoring position. And teams have been struggling overall against Carlos Martinez. They're just 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position early in the season against number 18.
All pitchers will get in trouble. The really good ones are able to get out of those jams, and Carlos, with that arsenal that we showed you earlier, he's got a lot of tools, a lot of weapons to help him get out of any jams.
2 balls, 1 strike on Joey Votto. Mentioned this the other day, Brad, and it was a sparse crowd for all 4 games in Cincinnati. For my money, though, this guy is worth the price of admission. He is one of the best hitters. He's unique in his approach. He chokes up. He can hit for power. He draws walks. He's a fun player to watch.
He really is. You don't see too many guys choke up at all around baseball. You'll see Rizzo do it every once in a while with 2 strikes. He'll get up there, but he still has power. You wouldn't think that the power would come like that, but it certainly does for him.
Hunter Pence, another one that comes to mind that'll choke up, but not many. First base is open. Got to be careful with this pitch on 3-2 to Votto. Even though it's the first inning, he can do some damage. The full count delivery, and he walked him. Cardinals defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The trio of Ozuna, Bader, and Fowler in the outfield. Carpenter, DeYoung, Wong, and Martinez on the infield, and Yadier Molina. Day game after a night game, and Yadi's still in there. Here's Scooter Gennett. He goes from a year ago, about this time, being released by the Brewers to being the cleanup man this season of the Cincinnati Reds.
Baseball's a funny game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You think sometimes you think you're out and you're in, sometimes you think you're in and you're out, and he just kept on battling, right? And Scooter Gennett is a guy the Cardinals have known. He can hurt you in a spot. We just talked about Carlos Martinez being able to get out of jams. This is where that sinker might come in, a nice little double play ball.
That's hit out of play. Now, against left-handed batters, has also been mixing in a cutter, which we did not see all that much in years past from Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, that is a nice weapon for Carlos to have. That changeup has evolved into a very good pitch for him, and it's effective against lefties, and he's used it more against righties. But the cutter is just another one for lefties to think about. When you have a guy that throws 97 with sink, if he's able to bring something in hard on you, it's a tough pitch.
There's the first strikeout for Carlos Martinez. Elevated the pitch, and the eye angle here for Scooter Gennett.
Yeah, Carlos Martinez, just, you know, he's got that high octane fastball. You know that he can throw that cutter in like we were talking about. And this is becoming a trend more in baseball now. The fastball's up, right? There are plenty of strikeouts there. You've got a lot of guys that are trying to hit home runs, that are trying to get that launch angle going. Well, take advantage of it.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs, and a strike to Duvall. Leads the Reds in home runs with 3. 9 driven in this year. Went 1 for 4 last night. Outfield is straight away, and the 0-1 pitch by Martinez. 0-2. Two outs, 2 on. Nothing into the count. The long look by Martinez, and they'll go through the signs again. Here's the 0-2. Way outside. Cardinals have tried different ways to tinker with Martinez because of one of your keys to the game, the first innings. Warm up earlier, sometimes later. Don't throw as much, only throw fastballs. I mean, they've tried everything to get him right from the onset of a game.
Well, and I know it could be frustrating for them. I guarantee you it's much more frustrating for Carlos Martinez, but you do have to find something, whether it's in the bullpen beforehand or right now making that adjustment. Carlos gets out of that inning, and plan on him to start cruising from here on out.
Matt Carpenter leads it off when we come back. any active pitchers. Last win was in May of 2014. And it's been one of the more talked about aspects of the Cardinals this season. Matt Carpenter in the leadoff spot. Well, if this is what you wanted, today you get your wish. Carpenter is at the top of the lineup. How about this? Yadier Molina batting second. Then Jose Martinez and Marcell Ozuna. Dexter Fowler, Paul DeYoung, Cole Kwong, Harrison Bader, and the pitcher, Carlos Martinez against Homer Bailey.
Well, we talked about this a little bit on the broadcast yesterday, Dan. When you have a lot of pieces that can be interchangeable, why not mix it up, see what you can spark?
Matt Carpenter, a .291 hitter, .391 the on-base percentage in nearly 600 games as a leadoff man. The numbers don't lie. He's been very good in this spot.
That would be a real sample size.
Yes, sir.
A small one. He could just flat out hit.
Out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. The Hyundai pitch arsenal, fastball, split finger, a good one, went right. Mixes in a slider and a curve. Homer Bailey, the Hyundai pitch arsenal. The shift on the right side of the infield. And the 0-2 pitch. High fly ball lifted into right. Jesse Winker is there and makes the catch. Your number 2 hitter today, Yadier Molina. Since 2017, Kubota Power Stats. Among catchers, Yadier Molina has driven in 96 that time frame. This is the first time that Molina has batted second in a lineup since 2014.
Well, Yadier Molina is seeing the ball very well right now. And look, there is no it's different now than it used to be. You try to put all your speed back in the day at the top of your lineup and let the guys hit them in. Right now, you're putting up there guys that can get on base, that can move the chains, and he is one of those guys.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. And if Carpenter gets on, you may see a hit and run with Yadier Molina. Now, it's risky because Carpenter's not the fastest player we've seen in the league, but Yadi does have a very good ability to put the ball in play. So if you're thinking about trying to get movement, that's one way to do it.
I would think that with anybody on the team, Yadier Molina would probably be the one that Mike Matheny would be the most inclined to do something like that with, the way he handles the bat.
Base hit into center field for Yadier Molina. Yadier Molina, the bases loaded double last night. Jose Martinez in game 1. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. How about the last 10 games against Cincinnati? His highlights from game 1. Just put the ball in play. 3 more hits. And big numbers against the Reds.
You've just come to expect this now out of Jose Martinez. Every time he gets in there, if he doesn't get 3 hits, it seems like an off night. He's just so comfortable in the box, hitting the ball to all fields.
Molina is running, and a throw to second. Stolen base, Yadier Molina, his second of the year.
We talked yesterday about Yadi might not be the fastest guy in the world, all right, but he is a smart base runner. Homer Bailey paying little to no attention. Yadi says, fine, I'll take it. And he does. He's moving right there too, Dan.
Love it.
Yes. Changes everything, right?
Put a man in scoring position. Martinez, you saw in the graphic, second in average in the National League. And he is 6th in RBI with 16. A pitch in the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Jose Martinez, also a guy, I know we're in an age where we like to put the shift on different guys for tendencies. Very hard to find a tendency the way that he swings the bat. He drives the ball to all fields. You put one on the inner half, he pulls it. We saw it last night. He's not afraid to go the other way as well. You pretty much have to play this guy straight up.
He has hit in 11 straight against the Reds. 22 hits in those 11 games. The 1-1 hits sharply to short. Peraza gets it on a hop. And Molina has to stay put at second. Ball was scorched. Look at the Reds defensively. Duvall, Schebler, and Winker in the outfield. Blandino, Peraza, Jeanette and Votto on the infield, and Tucker Barnhart, the catcher and Gold Glove winner from a season ago. Marcell Ozuna 0 for 3 last night. Little bit of a rut. Average has dipped below 250. That's pulled foul. One thing you notice though about Ozuna, we saw it in spring training, quick hands on pitches inside. He is now 0 for his last 15.
Yeah, he can pull those things in very well. And 0 for the last 15, you still feel like every time he's up there, it's about to happen, right? Something's going to get going. And that's exactly how you saw his year last year. He would go on big-time tears. I don't think he's a guy that's going to stay too cold for too long.
Here's a 0-1 pitch. Instead, a check on Molina.
That's what speed does.
Got to check on him.
That's right.
That was Molina's 1,750th hit of his career, closing in on 2,000.
Thought you were going to say steal.
I think we all know where I was going with that. You were the only one. 1 ball and 1 strike. But the point you made is valid, and it shows itself here in the first inning. You're looking for guys to get on base. Fowler has struggled in the leadoff spot. Pham normally would be hitting either first or second. He's out. Jim will have more on that coming up in the second inning. And now Molina is aboard. So you're riding the hot hand. Scoots away. Molina to third and out. You now want to make that third out at third base, and the Cardinals run themselves out of an inning. Here's Jim Hayes.
Yeah, also changing up the lineup did Mike Matheny today. Dexter Fowler told me he's fine moving to the 5th spot in the batting order. He just never heard a reason as to why. Fowler told me this: I just got the lineup texted to me and that was it. I guess I'll find out when y'all find out, so let me know. Dexter was also very clear he's okay with the switch. He told me, I'm playing. If I'm in the lineup, I'm happy. Dan, Tommy Pham not in the lineup today. Mike Matheny said before the game they still want to be careful with Tommy's groin issue. Plus, Tommy's still dealing with the flu-like symptoms, although Tommy did tell me today, Danny, that he was feeling a little bit better.
Well, Jim, as you know, if you have a bobblehead giveaway, you have to be in the lineup that particular day or night.
I'm pretty sure that's a rule.
It is a rule.
Especially one that actually looks like you.
It's pretty good.
You know Dexter's very pleased with this bobblehead. He looked at it and he said, awesome.
We were shooting the promotional spots in spring training. There's a ground ball to the right side off the bat is Schebler. And so we got to the Dexter Fowler bobblehead, and he grabs it, looks at it, he said, this is unbelievable. And the amazing thing, I remember Carlos Beltran a few years ago, the guys always say, do you mind if I take this? Yeah, we'll get you some. Don't worry about it. There's only going to be 50,000 of these made, but you can have this particular one. He was very proud of it, wanted to take it home.
Should be proud of it. You get a bobblehead. You get something that's given out to 40,000 people that are coming to the ball game. It's a special thing. It's the little things, too. Dexter Fowler has done a lot of tremendous things in his career. He's had big moments, big hits, won a World Series, but this is his first bobblehead. You always remember that.
And you had a bobblehead giveaway in the celebration of the '06 champions, right?
I did. Still got a lot of those in the basement, too, Dan. If you need one for your collection, I've got plenty left. For some reason, they didn't go. They didn't go. So,
Christmas present, maybe?
Maybe. Stocking stuffer.
Absolutely. How about the likeness on your bobblehead? Were you pleased?
It's pretty pasty like I am, so you could probably just pull one out of the box and it would look pretty close.
It hadn't seen the light of day?
That's about right.
Did it have your neck going this way over your shoulder?
I don't know why you would do that.
I'm sorry.
But no, it was not as lifelike. It was not an action pose. It was more so me just standing there. But I tell you what, I was pumped up about it.
I bet.
It was a pretty neat thing to be able to get one of those, a special moment. I'm still waiting for yours.
I'm good. Believe me. 3-2 pitch. Tied him up. And the third strikeout for Carlos Martinez. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Look at this thing right here. 91 miles an hour, moves that much. You got to remember that he can throw a 97-mile-an-hour sinker that moves that much the other way. Good luck.
There's Alex Blandino, the third baseman. He is one of 3 Reds that have made their major league debut this season. And Brad, to take it even further, 32 major league debuts over the last 3 years, most of any team by a wide margin in all of baseball.
Well, great moments for 32 individuals, right? But for a ball club, not exactly what you're hoping to do. It's nice to have young talent. You just don't need it to all arrive at the same time. It's hard to win like that.
Or it tells you the major league talent isn't there, and you've got to go down to the minor leagues just to fill gaps. The 2-1 chop to short. DeYoung gloves and throws. A 1-2-3 for Carlos Martinez. Ozuna coming up when we come back. live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals, presented by T-Mobile. You asked me if I've ever had a bobblehead. I have not, and those guys have a pretty good seat. Maybe.
Actually, that's a pretty good place to be working. If you got to work on the weekend, you might as well have a prime time view of Busch Stadium in big league baseball.
I couldn't handle that.
Me neither. I'm actually sweating right now watching them.
It's uncomfortable.
I'm not a big height guy.
Me neither. Here's Marcell Ozuna. He will lead it off here in the bottom of the second. And there's no score. Ozuna taps it slowly to short, stays down, and safe at first. Boy, Peraza, tough play as that ball stayed down, may have hit the lip of the grass and still made that close.
It was a heck of an effort right there by Peraza. That ball not hit hard, but pretty hard to bare hand right there. He still makes a decent throw, just pulls him off the bag a little bit and beats him a little bit. But good play by Peraza and way to run out of the box by Ozuna.
It snaps an over 15 skid for Marcell Ozuna.
Sometimes it takes one like that little ground ball where you don't drive it in the gap. We've seen Ozuna hit home runs left and right. He's got that type of power, but sometimes to get on a roll, it takes a little ground ball, a little hustle here and there to get things going.
Here's Dexter Fowler. Arcia drive to success, the switch hitting right fielder. Last 6 games against the Reds. 3 homers, has driven in 8. The .444 batting mark. The reason I brought up the bobblehead is that Al Raboski had his bobblehead for many years, as you know. But if you get Ricky Horton around that, well, it becomes a bobblehead no longer with the bobble, no longer with the head.
I'm sure that was just some sort of an accident.
It wasn't.
No?
Oh, no. I'm sure Ricky will explain that maybe on one of the hits today from the studio or in the post game, but he just tore it right off.
Really?
Yep.
Just in a fit of rage, or
You'd
just
have to
to
ask
spite
him.
him? I can't wait to hear the story. By the way, Al's most recent bobblehead is fantastic. That's one of the more lifelike ones I've seen.
Swinging on 3-0. And a fly ball to Schebler for the out.
You wouldn't do something like that with my bobblehead, would you?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
If it's lifelike for Al's, I'm assuming he's not smiling.
That's correct.
Here's Paul DeYoung. He's hitting .235 with 5 home runs, tied for the team lead with Yadier Molina. I would appreciate it tomorrow if you brought me a bobblehead.
Done. Done and done.
Thank
I would
you.
appreciate it if you don't rip the head off.
I
of
won't
it.
do that.
Or at least in my company. I mean, do it
Privately,
yes,
sure.
please.
One ball, no strikes. With 1 out, and Ozuna, your runner at first base. And DeYoung hits it out to deep left field. Will it go? Gone! 2-run homer, number 6 of the year. 2-0 St. Louis.
Paul DeYoung gets a 1-0 pitch up in the zone and does not miss it. Just punishes this baseball and gives them an early lead. That ball was hammered in.
That's his first home run of the 6 here at Busch Stadium. He's got 6 on the year and the first here at home. With a 2-0 lead. Here's Colton Wong. Looks at a strike. Cardinals are not concerned one bit with the strikeouts of Paul DeYoung.
It's all about payoff, right? It's fine.
Line him up. The conga line.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Especially when you're at the head of it.
Yes, for sure. You know what's fun? Winning is fun. Scoring runs is fun. Being on a team that enjoys being around each other, that is fun. It looks like this group is a pretty close-knit one.
The 2-1 pitch to Colton Wong. Inside 3-1. Mike Matheny talked about that very beginning of spring training. And I was there from day one. He said this is a different feel to this group. The 3-1 pitch. You got to have fun in a long season. And he was asked about the conga line and does it bother you? And he said, you know what? I am personally old school is what Mike said, but this is how sports, how baseball, how guys have fun. They express themselves. This is how it's done with the younger generation. As long as we're not showing somebody up, I got no problem with it. Slowly hit to the right side. And Joey Votto steps on the bag. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app. You can grab 100% MLB verified tickets until the first pitch, or sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, official partner of your St. Louis Cardinals. Harrison Bader in the lineup again today. This afternoon in center field, and he rips it out to left field. Continues to hit. They will find him a spot.
There is no doubt about it. Harrison Bader just aggressive here. You see this pitch up in the zone. It gets a breaking ball there and just turns on it. He's not up there looking to draw a walk. He's looking up there to get a piece of something, get something he can hit and do so, and he does it right there.
There's Carlos Martinez, 222 the average. 2 for 9 this year. He can swing the bat a little bit. Homer Bailey, one of those players with a $100 million contract. Unfortunately for him and the Reds, he's been besieged by injury, all kinds of different ailments. Tommy John, bicep, shoulder. As Bader's back in safely. Martinez fouls it back in that strike one. He's thrown 2 no-hitters in his career. His career at Busch Stadium has been a tough one. 1-6 with an ERA of 6.
There are some places as a pitcher you just don't feel comfortable, whether it be the mound or the backdrop. And there is something about Busch Stadium for Homer Bailey that he just doesn't like. Might be the lineup over the years. I mean, he's faced some pretty tough ones, especially early on in his prime. But there are just some ballparks that just don't feel right for certain guys.
And the 0-2. Martinez just got a piece of it. Bader with that single to left, now riding the 7-game hit streak. But in sports, you get those kind of contracts, $100 million plus. You're always labeled with that contract.
Certainly, and when they handed him that contract, I don't think that there were too many people that were batting an eye at it. You saw the upward trajectory that Homer was on, and you know that when he's on top of his game, he can be dominant. But like you said, the injuries have taken their toll.
Gets the strikeout of Carlos Martinez. Paul DeJong, his 6th home run, first at home in 2018. One swing, 2-0 St. Louis. is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Pick your power, fuel, or battery with Steel. Search STIHL. A 2-0 lead for the Cardinals and a home run by Paul DeJong. And that was number 6 already in the first month of the regular season. MLB at Bat, your #1 Cardinals app. Customize your experience. Catch every moment this season. Get Cardinals home screen icons, features, and highlights. Download MLB at Bat today. And a strike on the outside corner to Homer Bailey.
Carlos worked out of a little bit of trouble in that first inning, really settled in the second inning, and it looks like he's feeling the flow right now. He's pumping strikes free and easy.
The 0-2. He's got 3 strikeouts today, 1 walk. At times this year, the walks have been an issue for Martinez. Puts it in play, does Bailey, and Carlos is there and flips to the bag at first.
Part of the game right here, got to be able to field your position. Ball's not scorched, but he has to get up a little bit and get this one. Decides to jog it over. I always like the jog over as opposed to the throw, because when you're used to throwing downhill for Carlos 95 to 97, the little toss over there could be tough at times. It's a little bit safer every once in a while to use the underhand toss.
It's an epidemic, it seemed like, in baseball, that pitchers, not just Cardinals but across the game, struggle with that. There's Bader in left center, racing for it to make the catch, and Winker is 1 for 2. It's the first ball to lead the infield here this afternoon against Carlos Martinez.
Carlos Martinez right now, with the Cardinals have a 2-0 lead. 38-4 is Carlos in his career with a 2 or more run lead.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
There's Jose Peraza, sacrifice back in the first inning. That gave me an idea what Jim Riggleman is thinking, probably on a couple of different fronts. 1, it's going to be very tough against Martinez, bunting in the first, and 2, he's got to get his team going, get something going. They have been trailing for every inning with the exception of 2 now in 5+ games against the Cardinals.
Sometimes you have to do something different. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. Sometimes all the things that make sense, right, like that you would normally do on a day-to-day basis, you have to throw that out the window when you haven't seen success. And that's going to be one of the things for Riggleman he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get creative and build momentum.
Ouch. And Peraza hit by the pitch with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Reds have given Homer Bailey just 2 runs in his 4 starts. That's it. 2.
Kind of tough to win like that.
Yep.
That sounded like it got him pretty clean. You get a sinker trying to go inner half, and every once in a while that one just tails on you. Caught him in the meat right there, but that one hurts quite a bit. I'm sure there'll be a little bit marked there after the game for Peraza.
It's the 5th batter that Martinez has hit this year, most in baseball. He's an uncomfortable at bat anyway. Then you add that to the equation.
You know what? That can be a very, very powerful thing to have that in somebody's mind, that you're not afraid to go in there. You're not trying to hit anybody, but it certainly can open up the outer half in the next at bat against Peraza.
He threw it about 90 miles an hour at the head of Jose Martinez. Jose just had to throw the glove up right before it got to his face.
He's still learning how to play the position, and that is part of it. You got to know which guys are going to turn and burn.
That pitch down low to Votto. What a career it has been for Joey Votto in Cincinnati. Already 10th all-time in hits, 5th in home runs. He's driven in the 10th most runs, and he's 10th in games played. And after this year, he still has 5 more years on his contract plus an option season.
I know it's been a little bit of a slow start for Joey Votto so far this year, but nothing in his numbers points to him slowing down at all. I mean, his numbers keep climbing. He's great over there at first base. He's going to keep climbing up those lists.
Be intriguing if the Reds dangled him out there. Now, they're clearly in a rebuild. He's owed a bunch of money. He's in his mid-30s. Now, he does have a no-trade part of his contract. So it'll be interesting to see if he would be open to the idea of going to a winner or staying as a part of this rebuild.
Yeah, I think they may have even kicked that around with him before, and things change, right? There's only so long that you can go through a quote-unquote rebuild before you might change your mind. But he seems to be very comfortable there. He wants to build a winner there, be a part, be the focal point of a winner in Cincinnati, which you can respect for sure, right? Somebody that wants to spend their career in one place, but you also got to want to win as well. And at some point, you're going to run out of time.
It was the 16th walk issued by Martinez, second most in baseball. And for Votto, he now has 1,004 walks in his career, and he did it in the 4th fewest plate appearances in all of baseball to get to that mark of 1,000. 1 ball, 1 strike. So 2 outs and 2 on, and the batter is Scooter Gennett. Room on the left side of the infield, and the 1-1. Get out of play.
Martinez staked with that 2-0 lead right now. This is a big inning. This is a big time to be able to just shut down the momentum and keep it swinging your way. You don't want to score 2 runs, then allow them to get back into it. You want to be able to take that momentum and run with it.
Looking for strikeout number 4 on the day. And the 1-2 pitch. Got him. Caught him looking. 4 strikeouts for Carlos Martinez. Reds strand a pair. Midway through 3. Cardinals on top. The giveaway here at the ballpark this afternoon. And apparently our good friend, I say good friend, Rick Horton has struck.
What is that?
This was
What
sent
is
to
that?
us moments ago and what he did to the Brad Thompson bobblehead.
Rick Horton did that. Rick's the nicest guy ever. Rick wouldn't do that, would he?
Well, he's got some kind of fetish with these bobbleheads to tear them up.
All right.
I don't know what his problem is.
You know, that's a collector's item.
I know it is.
Maybe it came out of the box that way. They're not the best made ones.
I would doubt it came out
I would hope so.
Like that. It's not a piece together set.
All right.
It usually comes together with the body intact.
I feel like there needs to be some sort of an intervention with the bobbleheads and Rick Horton.
I would totally agree with that. Tom Mead just said, our director, it's downright mean. So this is filtered to the truck and now to all the viewers, that Ricky has a serious issue with these bobbleheads. Except his own, of course, which is held in high regard and it's pristine.
It's
you
in
get it
mint
out of the
condition.
box, it's beautiful.
Yes, so it is. When you go into the Fox Sports Midwest studios over at Ballpark Village, it is prominently placed right in the middle of a couple of television. I mean, it's basically a centerpiece out there, and it certainly doesn't look like the Brad Thompson one does.
2-1. And Ricky is he's the nicest guy ever.
It's a good act.
Oh, you're saying it's an act now?
I don't know. I mean, I just saw that picture.
Are you hurt?
A little.
I bet.
Not as bad as the bobblehead.
No,
but
clearly not. You still have your arms on your body. Here's a 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Well, I'm sure Scott Warman will get to the bottom of it, why Ricky has these issues with others and their bobbleheads. Two balls, two strikes on Carpenter, back in the leadoff spot. And a high fly ball again lifted into the outfield off the bat of Carpenter. This one carries to Schebler. Monday, May 7th, the Cardinals celebrate the Super Bowl champ and recent Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, Kurt Warner. He'll be back in town, and for fans who purchase a special Kurt Warner themed ticket receive a one-of-a-kind Warner Hall of Fame bobblehead. Tickets at cardinals.com/theme. Here's Yadier Molina, base hit to center, first time up.
You think Rick is excited about Kurt Warner bobblehead day? I would think so.
All kinds of theme nights here at the ballpark. Last night, Grateful Dead. Kurt Warner theme night coming up. Here's a 1-0. Really interesting when you think about Molina and how much he plays. His average day games after a night game is 268. He plays the most demanding position in the sport.
He wants it too. He loves it. That's what he prepares himself for, and that's one of the biggest things that Yadi talks about is it doesn't just happen. You don't just go out there and catch as many games he does. He gets his body prepared for it. That's what he expects. He wants to be out there for 162.
And there's a strike, 3-1. Bailey keeps shaking off his catcher with the changeup. 3-1 pitch. Now 3-2. That pitch at 94.
Sometimes as a pitcher, a certain pitch will make sense, right? And the catcher will call it because they think in that time for that hitter, it's going to be the most effective. You know, though, as a pitcher, what you have a feel for. It looks like right now Homer Bailey's got a feel for the fastball.
And that's taken low. Molina on base for the second time. Along with Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well. Brad, part of the 06 championship team of the St. Louis Cardinals. Nice day here at Busch Stadium. The lights are on here at the ballpark. Overcast skies, low 60s are temperatures. And here's Jose Martinez, grounded out sharply to short, first time up. And a strike.
You mentioned Homer Bailey earlier. In his 4 starts this year, has only been given 2 runs of support. At some point as a pitcher, that starts weighing on you a little bit. I mean, you feel like you've given up 2 runs in this game, and it can almost feel insurmountable. If you're the Cardinals, if you're able to tack on a couple of more, I mean, you essentially knock them out of this.
Do you get to a point where you think you've got to be perfect?
Yes. Yeah, you absolutely do. And that's when you end up falling behind. That's when you end up making mistakes because you're trying to be too good. Instead of just letting your stuff work and let things fall as they may, you feel like you're already in a hole and you can't make a mistake. It's counterproductive.
No balls and 2 strikes. Room on the right side of the infield. And a curveball taken for strike 3. Second strikeout for Bailey, out number 2 in the inning.
Homer Bailey just has Martinez looking out over. He thinks this is in a little bit, but it's a good pitch. It ends up getting the inner half right there. And a nice breaking ball after he's throwing a ton of fastballs on the outer half. That was a good look by him.
Here's Marcell Ozuna. Infield hit. And as Brad said, maybe that gets him going. Good fastball at 93. That pitch in the dirt. The Cardinals have won 9 in a row against the Reds. Their longest winning streak since winning 11 straight back in 1949, when the cost of a gallon of gas was 17 cents and the average cost of a new car was $1,400.
The good old days.
So you get the idea. It's been a long time. Tied them up 1-2.
I don't care what a team is going through. That's hard to do. At some point, right, you feel like you're going to run into a pitcher that just spins a gem, or you're going to have that one hit, the home run that puts them ahead. That just has not happened recently here for the Reds, and hopefully it continues to not happen for the Reds against the Cardinals.
Ozuna with a fly ball into right. Winker with the catch. The interim manager, Jim Riggleman. Big job ahead.
The leadoff hitter are among the best in baseball. That .391 on base percentage that you referenced tops among all active players in baseball hitting leadoff. Now, before the game, Carpenter did not want to talk about going back to the leadoff spot. He thinks people make too much of it. Dan, Carp has gone on the record many times before, however. He says he's fine hitting anywhere in the lineup, and he thinks given time, he can have similar success no matter where he hits.
The numbers, though, it is so interesting that he's been ridiculously good from the leadoff spot. And yet in this day and age of baseball, the prototypical leadoff hitter, meaning speed at the top, not a lot of teams have it.
No, can you get on base? Can you get on? Can you be able to move him around? And he does that. He's got one of the best eyes in all of baseball. And I do agree he can hit anywhere. It's a matter of time. But Mike Matheny's at a point right now where he's got a couple of his guys. He's got Matt Carpenter. He's got Dexter Fowler. You're trying to spark something. So move it around. Maybe this is what does it.
The pitch in to Duvall. 2 balls and no strikes. If the Reds cannot win here today, it would match their worst 20-game start in franchise history. Only time it's ever happened, have 3 wins in 20 games, was 1931. Carlos Martinez now with 15 consecutive scoreless innings going back to last couple of starts, continuing today, longest active streak in all of baseball. The 2-1. 2-2.
Dan, you know that even with teams that are very good, winning records, winning teams, the season can get long. It can feel long at times. Could you imagine feeling like the season is long already in April? Like, it's tough. It's an uphill battle the entire time that the Reds are going to have to fight this year.
But then on the flip side, you look at the Boston Red Sox. They're 17-2. They've won 8 in a row. They're playing at Oakland later today. 17-2.
I guess only one way to go for each of them. You would think. At some point, it's going to level
Even
itself
out a little
out.
bit. Yeah. The 2-2. A swing and a miss. Strikeout number 5. The Chevy Fox tracks. Brad, we see what you said is nasty.
I'll tell you what, this thing, you just never know where he's going to start his pitches. They're all coming out of the same slot, and this just 85-mile-an-hour sweeping slider that Duvall has no chance on. He was committed early and just couldn't get a bat to it.
Here's Schebler. Hit down the left field line and out of play. Schebler grounded out to second, first time up. The only hit that Martinez has allowed was the leadoff man Winker to start the afternoon. Ground ball to second, taken there by Wong. Remember when the Milwaukee Brewers started out, what was it, 13 or 14-0 in a season, and things did even out. They went on a road trip out west, 3-city road trip, did not win a game, and had a very good year, but not good enough. It's just that's the way it works in baseball, typically.
Yeah,
but I wonder, though, with teams that are rebuilding and teams that, you hate to say it, but are tanking, if you're going to see more of these teams at the top just absolutely dominate.
Yeah, well, it does really open it up for everybody else. You look in the division, and people are going to be feasting off of the Reds right now until they're able to get it together and get it moving in the right direction.
Here's a 1-1.
Carlos just getting around that changeup a little bit here lately, getting on the side of it, not getting that true downward action.
The 2-1 pitch. Just a bit high. Interleague play this year for the Cardinals against the AL Central. Kansas City, a rebuild. The White Sox combined, they have 8 total wins, those two teams. Detroit playing better maybe than some thought. They're 8-10, but that is a rebuild to an extent as well. The 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. 2 strikeouts in the inning, and already 6 through 4 for Carlos Martinez. Championship coming to St. Louis in August. Limited tickets remain for opening day through Thursday's round 1. To see golf's biggest names, PGAchampionship.com for tickets. And here locally, you should not underestimate this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Participate in major golf history. This will sell out at Bellerive Country Club. Bellerive has done amazing things for youth in the area, raising a lot of awareness and money for kids in St. Louis. And that'll continue with the 100th PGA Championship coming to town. Historic Bellerive. Here's Dexter Fowler, 2-0 our score. And a ground ball to second. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Homer Bailey went with that changeup that he had shook off earlier for the first pitch and just got him out in front a little bit.
By the way, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, at PGA Championship on Twitter, Facebook.com PGA Championship for Facebook. Paul DeJong with a 2-run homer back in the second inning. That's it out of play. 2-run homer, pitch that's up and goodbye. Number 6 for DeJong back in the second inning. Here's a 1-1. View of section 163 here at the ballpark. In the air out to deep left field again off the bat of DeJong. 1 hops off the wall. And DeJong is 2 for 2 with a home run and a double.
Paul DeJong once again gets a breaking ball inner half right here and just turns on it again. You just saw the home run highlight. Well, this ball is driven in the gap as well and gets things going again for the Cardinals.
And now Kolten Wong with Bader on deck. One out, runner at second. By the way, I should mention for the championship at Belle Reve, opening day Monday through first round Thursday tickets remain. Week-long tickets as well as Friday, Saturday, Sunday single day tickets, those are sold out. Mike Tucker has been at Belle Reve for a number of years, does a great job with his staff. And really a showcase of the city for that week when golf's best come to town. Two and 0 the count. There's that changeup it looked like there.
It's a good pitch right there in a fastball count. You got Kolten Wong looking for the fastball, and Homer Bailey able to pull the string on that one. Very effective. We were talking about Marcell Ozuna earlier, getting that one knock to get some things going. I feel the same way about Kolten Wong. You just feel like you just got to get something heading in the right direction, and then maybe it creates something.
He's 2 for 24 with runners on base so far this year. Just get anything going. He's such a field player, momentum player. We've seen it. The talent is there. Career high 285 average a year ago for Kolten Wong.
Kolten Wong batting 7th today. A lot of times he runs into the problem where he gets pitched around because he's got the pitcher behind him batting 8th. This could benefit him having Bader behind him. You don't necessarily want to get another guy on. Might get a chance to get more to hit.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Wong, a ground ball hit to second. DeYoung advancing to third. And there's 2 away. Remember Sunday, Cardinals didn't score a lot, but just enough thanks to Harrison Bader completing the sweep over the Reds. Game that was delayed for over 2.5 hours, and then Bader, that 2-run homer. And now he'll receive the intentional walk, and the Reds will deal with Carlos Martinez with runners at first and third.
Homer Bailey's going to look to get ahead right here, and hopefully Carlos Martinez. There's a big difference between a 2-run lead and a 3-run lead. Hopefully he's ready to jump on something. You talked about he's a good hitter earlier. He's going to get a chance here.
Oh, 0-1 the count. Remember last year, Martinez and Wainwright led all pitchers with 11 driven in. Bunting in this spot. Barnhart diving for it. Great attempt. And the fans here in St. Louis applaud the effort. Not sure you necessarily like the idea of the bunt in this spot.
No, you know what? I think he's trying to catch Blandino sleeping over there at third base. Carlos can move a little bit. I mean, he could beat it out down the line. Not sure it's a high percentage play necessarily, but he's got the wheels turning at least.
A swing and a miss, and Martinez strikes out. I like it. Get to the bottom of it. The line on Carlos Martinez, 4 innings, 1 hit. He's walked a couple and has struck out 6. Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin with you, and Jim Hayes with us as well. And you got a Pearl with you there. You got a new baseball.
I do.
Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing with Carlos Martinez, in particular the cutter.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carlos Martinez, we showed you earlier the arsenal that he has. He's got 6 pitches that he throws, but this cutter is one of the newest ones. And typically a cutter is a 4-seam grip that you have. You offset it a tiny bit and just pull off of this middle finger. You're pulling down to create that cut. It's still a fastball. You throw it with conviction, you throw it hard, but it bears in on the lefties and away from the righties. A very effective pitch for Carlos Martinez.
And a strike to Alex Blandino. We've always known he's got a good slider, mixes in a change, throws hard. There's the slider there, 0-2, which is so tough against the right-handed batters.
It is for sure. All you want more for somebody to have to think about it. And like I said, this cutter can end up being effective to both righties and lefties. But right now, for him, this is a pitch to get somebody off of something else. For his cutter into lefties, you're going to start this thing on the inner third or even off the plate to just create room with something else.
Left that one up, and a base hit for Alex Blandino, who is 1 for 2. Brings in the pitcher, Homer Bailey. Carpenter will play in at third, anticipate the bunt. Bailey is an avid hunter. That's why he has the arrow, the tattoo, going down the left arm. If he's not at a ballpark, he's in a tree stand.
He's one of those guys that's very hard to find in the offseason.
You bet. Two nothing our score. And that's taken high, a little bit outside for ball 1. There's the arrow going down the arm of Homer Bailey.
Former Cardinal reliever Josh Kinney was one of those guys where you might as well say bye at the end of the season and know you can talk to him when spring training rolls around.
Carpenter makes the play, and third base is covered by both Molina and Martinez. Where is Josh these days? Any idea?
He is in Springfield. He's close by. Got a chance to see him at Cardinals fantasy camp. He's doing great. Got a mean beard still. Yeah, he was totally off the grid in the offseason. He was in a tree somewhere.
A lot of guys have to do that just to get away from the game. Mentally, the break.
It makes sense. You got to have something. You got to have some sort of an outlet. For some guys, it's golf. For other guys, it's being outdoors. It's hunting. It's fishing. It's very positive to have an outlet. You got to have something.
There's Jesse Winker, and a pitch in the dirt. Winker is 1 for 2. Get a ball off Martinez to start the day. Turned out to be an infield hit. Also flied out to center. A 1-0 pitch, and it's a strike. It'll be day baseball again tomorrow, wrap up the series. Then an off day on Monday. Tuesday night, the Mets will be here. Tomorrow on the air at 12:30, Miles Michaelis and Luis Castillo. The Yadier Molina kids jersey giveaway. Kids also get a free ticket voucher to a future home game tomorrow. If you're not at the ballpark, join us at 12:30. The 2-1 out of play. Finally, some decent weather here in the Midwest and a pretty good crowd here this afternoon. Over 40,000 expected. The 2-2. Good pitch in on his hands.
Set that up really well with the changeup to get back in the count at 2-2, then executes that fastball on the inner half right there. That's pitching. It's timing. It's speeding him up. It's slowing him down. It's a really good spot right there.
And this will be a mound visit charge to the Cardinals. Usually, at least in the early going, if Yachty has done this, it's with a runner at second base and with 2 strikes. You know, get on the same page, some conviction behind this pitch, but maybe also run through the signs, change them up again.
For sure. No, it's smart. You have 5 mound visits remaining right now. You want to make sure you execute. If you don't have the conviction behind it, or you think that you're on a different page, all of a sudden this is a 1-run ball game. It's a big pitch right here.
The 2-2 and a full count. Outfield is straight away and deep. Into the upper deck it goes. And he walked him. It's one of the greatest rivalries in all of baseball. The Cardinals host the Cubs at Busch Stadium May 4th, 5th, and 6th. Weekend matchup you don't want to miss. Great seats still remain. And get yours today. Cardinals.com/promotions. There's only one. Cardinals baseball. It's a third walk issued by Martinez. Here's Jose Peraza hit by a pitch. Also a sacrifice. How about a double play? Out there, the turn, and Wong hesitated. I'm not sure if he didn't get it out of his glove or he didn't realize there were only 2 outs.
I think we'll get a chance to see here on a replay what it looked like, but it looked like to me off the bat that he just forgot how many outs there were.
He sure did.
Carlos did a great job getting that ground ball, giving himself a chance, and this is where, look, you got to execute another pitch. It's not ideal. You've got Joey Votto up right here, but you got to bear down. It's about what happens next. And Carlos Martinez is going to have to go to work here.
That's a tailor-made double play ball. Votto has walked twice. And he skies one into left center. Bader back with room and makes the catch. tomorrow for St. Louis will come your way at 12:30. He has been fun to watch.
He's been great. He's getting you deep into games. He's showing off the whole arsenal. He looks very poised out there, and I know a lot of people were worried after a couple of outings in spring training. Well, he turned that around quickly in spring, and he's turned it around so far this season. He's been outstanding.
We're in the bottom of 5. It's 2-0. And a breaking ball drops in for a strike. Carpenter in the leadoff spot today for the Cardinals, 0 for 2. And the 0-1 pitch. Fly to right, also fly to center. Hammer down the right field line, but foul.
Carpenter just gets the head out on this one, just a little bit too much of a snap hook right there. Look, you saw the shift that they have on. You can't shift that. And he keeps that one fair. That's at the very least a double.
And the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gone with back-to-back changeups, so third time through a lineup, changing up maybe what he's doing against the Cardinals.
You get a feel for something too as the game progresses. You throw it a few more times, you feel better about it.
That's out of play.
Ground ball almost anywhere on that left side should result in a base hit.
The 2-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
One of the things about shifting is that you have to have a game plan, and you have to be able to have a pitcher that can execute. There are tendencies for sure, but if Homer Bailey doesn't get some of these pitches on the inner half where he wants them, you've got a better chance of him shooting that ball that way. There's no way with that pitch that Homer just threw that Matt Carpenter could hit that ball to the left side.
The 2-2 pitch. Fouled back. Just below us, to our left. And a fan with a nice play here at Busch Stadium. So back in the top spot of the lineup, and the pitches seen. 3 in the first, 5, and then 7, and counting. He's seen just about everything in this at bat. Now time called.
Matt Carpenter is one of those hitters that you face that just drive you crazy. They'll take every pitch that's just off the plate. He'll foul stuff off and spoil it, and all of a sudden you've thrown 8 or 9 pitches to him and you don't know where you're at.
The 2-2 fair inside the right field line, and Carpenter on his way to second base, sliding in with a double. .109 off the bat.
Well, he battled this entire at bat, got a ball in that he could just get the barrel to. You saw earlier in the bat, the ball he drove foul, just foul. Look at that reaction. They're so happy for their teammates. I love that, Dan. Happiness.
An 8-pitch at bat for Carpenter results in a leadoff double. Now Yadier Molina. See Barraza, the shortstop, trying to keep Carpenter fairly close to the bag, and that's opened up a big hole. Landino, third baseman, near the line. Molina didn't like that. Strike one. He drove in 2 last night with the bases loaded double. He's now sitting on 799 career RBI. And the 0-1. Carpenter has 3 doubles now in his last 6 games. Here's a 1-1. Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Big gap in left center. Hit down the right field line, but foul. Two and two. Along with Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin here in the booth. Jim Hayes with us as well. Brian Shapiro, our producer. Tom Mee, our director. Glad you're with us, and we hope you're enjoying Cardinals baseball wherever you may be. As Molina hits it again down the right field line and out of play.
One of our keys to the game early on today, Dan, was add on. And Homer Bailey has thrown a pretty good game. Hasn't given you too many opportunities. The 2 runs so far came off the bat of Paul DeYoung, 2-run homer. But the Cardinals have a leadoff guy at second base. You'd like to see them be able to push across the guy some way or another, and you got the right guy up here. Yadi has a tendency to do the right things. He'll hit a ball to the right side. Even if he gets an out, oftentimes it's a productive one.
The 2-2. Molina hits it to the right side. Exactly what you're talking about. Productive out. You'd have to think that the Reds now bring the infield in, down by 2. This summer, the World Cup coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th, only on Fox and FS1. Infield in for Martinez. The first pitch hit out to right, and it's a foul ball. You know, that's one of those plays where you say, is it better just to let it drop anyway?
Well, I would think that he's scoring on that. If you do catch that one, if you're Jesse Winker, a lot of times though, when you're going after that ball, that's your thought process, right? It's get this one, get this out, and you always have faith in your abilities, right? That you're going to be able to turn and burn and get him if he does tag up. But I got a feeling if he catches that, the Cardinals are up 3-0.
The Cardinals are 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position thus far in the series. Martinez 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. Driven in a team high 16. The 0-1. Fly ball, shallow right, and that's a foul ball. There's 2 strikes. It's a big run out there at third. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Martinez. A little low. Went with the curveball on 0-2.
We've seen Bailey miss with a couple of those off-speed pitches earlier in the game. Gets that one down.
Now time called. Cardinals looking for their first 2-strike hit of this series. Infield in the 1-2. A check swing, and he did strike out. Fourth strikeout for Bailey. The Cardinals need a 2-out hit from Ozuna.
Gets that breaking ball, just gets out on top of it very well, finishes it. A lot of times with that breaking ball, when it's not effective, Bailey's around the side of it a little bit. He gets right on top of that one and gets Jose Martinez swinging.
Ozuna 1 for 2, the infield hit back in the second inning. He's about due. Pair of home runs on the season. He has driven in 11. The 1-0. They've been able to tie him up a little bit on that inside pitch.
It seems to be the way that they're attacking guys, and a lot of times we're seeing pitchers go after him even in off the plate to set up a way. You talked about his hands earlier, though. There's only a matter of time you're going to be able to get away with that pitch. That stroke is going to come at some point, and who knows, maybe it comes right now.
1 ball and 1 strike on Marcell Ozuna. Outfield very deep, big gap in left center. Same pitch. Hits it sharply to third. Blandino with the play. Cardinals could not cash in, and it stays 2-0. Transmitted in any form, and the count and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated. The express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Folks having some fun at Ballpark Village across the street. Here at the ballpark, it's 2-0 as we move to the top of the 6th. Scooter Gennett, Adam Duvall, and Scott Schebler. This trio is 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. Then after that, you have Barnhart, who was struck out twice. So this part of the lineup, 4, 5, 6, and 7, Martinez has dominated.
He's been very, very effective, and you see him right there just starting off the pitch with the breaking ball, showing you a different look. That's something that he's gotten so much better at the last couple of years, is being able to throw that off speed for a strike. And something we've seen him do a little bit this year as well is throw that changeup more to lefties and righties. It's effective to both of them.
0-2 lined out to left and a base hit. So couldn't put him away on the 0-2 pitch. Single by Jeanette to left, and the tying run, and Duvall will come to the plate.
Well, Scooter not trying to do too much here, just gets a breaking ball that's center cut. He's trying to get it in there, maybe back foot off the plate. 0-2, definitely a mistake, and Scooter just gets the barrel to it.
First pitch to Duvall is pulled foul. It's the third time that the Reds have had their leadoff man on in this game. And the 0-1 almost hit him. Jordan Hicks, by my count, was up at least twice last night, maybe 3 times. And yet Bud Norris, a long save situation in the 9th. You don't know about his availability later today, but it does play in what happened last night, potentially what happens in the latter stages of this game.
No, it certainly does. You can't just look at the box score every time, and that doesn't tell you the whole story. It tells you a lot of it. It tells you who did get into the game, but it is different when you get up a couple of times. And a reminder for those that don't know, I mean, Jordan Hicks has been a starter most of his career. He's not used to the up and down before getting into a game. Sure, he's used to the up and down in between innings, but it's a little different animal out in the bullpen. It's just something that the Cardinals, I'm sure, will be mindful of.
That's pulled foul. How careful do you think the Cardinals are going to be? And I guess the better way to put it is that we know they're going to be careful, but to what extent? Because of Hicks, his age, the talent, the arm, that when he does get up, doesn't come in a game, that the next day you've got to be really cautious with how you use him.
Yeah, you know what, I think that's where it comes into talking with the player, and there's got to be a certain amount of honesty when you're a young guy and the skipper asks you how you're feeling. Oftentimes you're just going to say, oh, I'm fine, everything is great. But if you're not, if there's something barking, you've got to be able to tell him. You got to be able to just say, hey, maybe give me a day. It's a difficult thing to do, but you got to be honest. And for Mike Matheny and Mike Maddox and Brian Eversgerd, you got to trust the eyeball test and just see how your guys are looking as opposed to sometimes what they're telling you.
See, I know what you're saying, but I think almost you have to take that decision away from him, because he's going to give you.
You could hope he'd be honest.
Hey, Skip, I feel great. You know you're going to get that.
I've lied plenty of times.
The 2-2 pitch.
That's part of learning also how to be part of the bullpen. There are some situations where you know they might tell you to get going, but you can know by watching the game when you should really ramp it up, when you should just start going, all right, I'm ready to get into this ball game, as opposed to I should start tossing right now and get hot. And that's something that he'll learn, he'll figure out more, and he's got a lot of veterans out there, and he's got a great bullpen coach in Brian Eversgerd that can help him out.
3-2 pitch. Lifted in the air out to shallow right. Wong going out. Oh, what a catch by Cole Wong, and it turns into a double play. Oh, what a play by Wong, over the shoulder, and a double play.
We have talked forever about the athletic ability of Kolten Wong. He is on a dead sprint right here. I mean, there are not too many second basemen in the league that are going to make that play right there. Impressive.
Man, what a catch by Kolten Wong. So 2 outs, had nobody on. Schebler today has had 2 at-bats. And now here in his 3rd, he's seen a total of 4 pitches. That's it. Twice he has grounded out to second. There's that tight slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. You just wonder if Wong would be honest the previous inning and say, on the potential double play, well, maybe I didn't know how many outs there were. Well, throw that out the window, no damage done. He comes back with one of the best plays of the year.
That's it. We all, it doesn't matter what position you play, you're always going to have something that you wish you had back. There's always going to be a mistake that you make, whether it be physical or mental. But how do you react after that? Like, what is the next thing that you do? Well, the next thing that he did was pretty darn impressive right there.
There's 2 strikes on Schebler. You'll see when he goes in that dugout, many of his teammates will be waiting for him. That top step. They know it's been a frustrating start for him, but that's one of the bright spots and moments of his season thus far. The 2-2 pitch. The swing and a miss. Strikeout number 7 for Martinez. Kolten Wong, one of the top plays of the year so far. Turns into 2. A Cardinals decal featuring Wainwright, Molina, Fowler, or Carlos Martinez, courtesy of Shelter Insurance. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Nicely done, Kolten Wong. What a play. There's Dexter Fowler. 2-0 our score. Fowler 0 for 2. He's flied to center and grounded out to second. You know, on the flip side of Carpenter going in the leadoff spot, you have Fowler dropping down to number 5. And he lifts it in the air out to deep right field. Winker back at the wall. It's gone! Sneaks over the wall. It's your bobblehead day. You have to hit a home run. He's done it, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. Career home run number 99 for Dexter Fowler, and it snaps an 0 for 15.
Well, you said it earlier. If it's bobblehead day, you got to be in the lineup, right? But you might as well do something special. And he does it right there and tacks on a much needed run.
Now Paul DeYoung, he homered earlier. A 2-run shot in the second. And a double to left in the fourth. He's 2 for 2. Boy, I thought Winker had a pretty good shot to get this baseball.
He was right on it. The wall just caught up on him. Just enough for Dexter Fowler and the Cardinals.
You know, he didn't look very comfortable going back on that. As Luke Gregerson is up in the Cardinals pen, he gets back and maybe gets the chance to scale the wall a little bit better. May pull that back in.
Yeah, well, every ballpark is different. That's why it's important to go out there and check out your dimensions all the time. Even though Schebler has played here, he got to the part that had the chain link top to it as opposed to just the solid fence, and it's different. You run out of room in different areas. See him going back on it. He does a good job of knowing where the fence is, just didn't time his jump quite right. It's a hard play.
Catches the corner, 3-2. That's it out of play. Here, Garrett, the lefty hard thrower. A former starter now in their pen. They have 2 lefties, Garrett and Wandy Peralta. The 3-2 pitch to Paul DeYoung. Popped up. Out of play. You know, the Cardinals come in as a team batting .240, 6th best in the National League. Teams just aren't hitting right now. I'm sure it's a byproduct of the cold weather, but it's also a trend of where baseball's going. A lot of strikeouts. As DeYoung hits it in the air to shallow right. Jeanette calling for it and makes the catch.
I think you see that a lot early on in seasons. Pitchers are ready. Pitchers are built up to go out and start things, right? Hitters aren't quite there yet. It takes a little while, and the cold weather absolutely has something to do with it. But you are correct. We're seeing a lot of strikeouts. We're seeing a lot of just home runs. It's a bit of all or nothing baseball that we're trending towards.
After a play like that, Wong usually gets a base hit. That's what I'm calling right here. And the first pitch taken for a ball. He is a player that, you know, the confidence has to build up, the momentum, things go in the right direction. It snowballs. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Colton Wong. Now the Cardinals, the average right in the middle of the pack, slightly above it in the National League, but they have 27 home runs now. That's 3rd most in baseball behind Colorado and the Angels, both with 28. The 2-0 pitch, and Wong hits it sharply, but Votto is there. May 5th, make your furry friend happy by taking home a special Cardinals pet treat jar courtesy of Purina. Pet treat jars available upon gate entry to 30,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. And tickets to the game on May 5th, the Cards and Cubs, cardinals.com/promotions. Take your dog to the park that weekend. Harrison Bader with a ground ball that's cut off by Blandino. And Bader is aboard. He's back in safely. In that play, as you go past the bag at first, you have to be fully committed to going to second, even though you are in fair territory on that play.
As soon as he made that move, though, that direction, you can get tagged out.
Absolutely.
So he did a great job of getting right back there. Heads up play on both sides to be ready for him. And just hustle once again. Hustle is a beautiful thing. Sometimes the legs will put pressure on somebody.
This will be a double switch upcoming for the Reds. Amir Garrett will come into the ball game. We step aside. 3-0 Cardinals. It's 3-0. Cardinals with a lead over the Reds. Amir Garrett is our Chevy called to the pen. Very good numbers so far. 9 1/3. Only one walk. He has struck out 11. And this will be his 8th appearance of the year. Phillip Ervin takes over in left field and Duvall is out. And that's the double switch by Cincinnati. The Reds pen has been very good here as of late. 18 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. Here's Tyler O'Neill. He'll pinch hit. Cardinals pull back Greg Garcia. And O'Neill making his home debut and looking for his first major league hit. But the numbers he was putting up in the minor leagues,
they were incredible. And Tyler O'Neill, I mean, he was a guy that had momentum to potentially make the team out of spring training. There was a lot of hype around him and Harrison Bader. Dealt with some injuries in spring that slowed him down, but certainly off to a hot start in Memphis and earned this call up.
So O'Neill pinch hitting for Carlos Martinez. It'll be up to the Cardinal bullpen to get the final 3 outs. Young man out of Canada. Former 3rd round pick by the Mariners, part of the Marco Gonzalez deal. 2 balls, no strikes. It's a frustrating spring for him. Banged up at the end. Didn't really show what he could do. Clearly, though, a physical specimen. The 2-0 pitch. It's softly to second. And Garrett gets O'Neill. Dexter Fowler, his bobblehead day, and he goes deep. A solo home run to right. His 3rd of the year. He's driven in 8. And the Cardinals have a 3-0 lead. some fun here at the ballpark. 3-0. Homer Bailey goes 5 2/3. Martinez 6 for the Cardinals to Young. The 2-run homer and a double. And Fowler a home run moments ago. Luke Gregerson, the Chevy call to the pen. He appeared in the ball game at Wrigley Field. Came in with the bases loaded, 1 out, and got a ground ball double plays. Lone appearance thus far. This is where the Cardinals can be really good. Talking about Luke Gregerson, that at the winter warm-up not too long ago was mentioned as the closer for the Cardinals, and here he is in the 7th inning.
Yeah, they've got so many options in that back end of the pen. You don't look at Gregerson's overall stuff and say wow, but what he does is he executes so well with all of it. That slider of his has been wipeout ever since he first came into the big leagues, even when he was in the minor leagues with the Cardinals back in the day. But he spots up his fastball so well. He just knows how to pitch. He's quite effective, and he's very aggressive.
Did you know him at all?
I didn't.
So 07, 08, that time he was in the minor leagues, then eventually went to San Diego. There's a ground ball to Colton Wong off the bat of Tucker Barnhart, and there's the first out in the 7th. But you did know as a young man Cardinals pitching coach Mike Maddox.
I did, for sure. I got a chance to run into Mike today, and I was so excited. I'm a Las Vegas native. Mike Maddox, a Las Vegas native. I used to go to Las Vegas Baseball Academy, and Mike and Greg were guest instructors back in the day. And I've got a picture with the two of them when I was about 10, 11 years old. And I took that same picture with those guys after we won the World Series in 2006. Me being an instructor, I told him that story, and he told me, "Hey, you're just making me feel old." I said, "Mike, I feel old as well."
Wasn't sentimental, huh?
I feel old as well. It happens. But he is a phenomenal pitching coach. Everybody that you get a chance to talk to that played for him just loves the way he goes about it, whether it be approach or just talking to you about how to execute or just game plan. Everything about it, people love Mike Maddox.
Well, he has to be happy with his starter today. If you eliminate the opener against the Mets, Carlos Martinez has been lights out. 27 1/3, 1 earned run. There's a broken bat ground ball that's gloved by DeYoung. Flips it over to first, and there's 2 away. Specifically here this afternoon, Carlos Martinez, 6 innings, 3 hits, struck out 7 and walked 3.
See Carlos doing it all. He's climbing the ladder. He's tying you up with the slider inside. He had it all working today. It's fun to watch when somebody has it like that. His last outing, he's punched out 11 Reds. That's 18 in his 2 games. Pretty dominant out of Carlos Martinez. Outside of that first one of the year, he's been darn near unhittable.
And now Phillip Ervin. This is Gregerson's 600th career inning pitched. Last 3 seasons with Houston. World champion last year with the Astros. The 1-0 pitch. You mentioned that slider. It is indeed a wipe-out slider.
It really is. You look at some of the swings that guys take against it, and they just don't pick it up. You know, Gregerson's got a little bit of a hitch in his delivery. A little bit. There's a little hesitation. He hides the ball well, and it just seems to get on hitters quickly.
And a base hit for Ervin into left. 2-out hit, and it brings in Jesse Winker. Winker has singled and also walked today. And Mike Matheny, slow walk out to the mound. He'll go with the lefty here, Tyler Lyons. So Lyons called upon with 2 outs. The 3-0 St. Louis lead. Spot to face Jesse Winker, and then certainly he would be there for Votto and Jeanette. You know, Mike Matheny, I asked him the other day about who else do you like against lefties outside of Lyons, and he said Dominic Leone is a guy that comes to mind that could face a left-handed batter in a tough spot, but right now it's Tyler Lyons, who pitched last night.
Well, Dominic Leone makes a lot of sense. We talked about how effective that cutter can be into lefties, referencing Carlos Martinez. Well, Dominic Leone has got a nasty one. It's effective to righties and lefties. Spots it up really well, can throw it for a strike, can throw it for chase. I can see why he'd feel comfortable with that matchup.
So 2 outs and the runner at first. And a ball taken. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Tyler Lyons. Our crowd today, 42,382. 42,382. In time called Phillip Ervin, your runner at first base. Two balls and no strikes.
Tyler Lyons has the ability, even when he falls behind, he's got such good feel for his slider that he can throw that in for a strike. When you're sitting here 2-0 as a hitter, you're looking for something dead red, center cut fastball. If he's able to throw that breaking ball for a strike, it gets him right back in.
The 2-0. Sometimes you think that the slider is the pitch he can locate best, even more so than a fastball.
Like that. There are some guys that just have a feel for it. Everybody's got their different pitches they have a feel for it, and this is one for Lyons that's been there for him a long time. And once again, 2-0 is the count. You're looking for something to hit out over. You're probably not going to offer at that pitch.
3-1. Lions with 6 holds, third most in baseball. The Cardinals 18 holds, most in the game. And now Hicks is up, and I would think if he's up today, he's coming in at some point.
I would think so too. I also think you don't have to announce that he's up. You can just hear it.
All the way up here. There's the slider and a base hit into right, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Irvin on his way to third. And back-to-back hits now for the Reds. Plaza Tire Service Fox Tracks. It's been a little bit surprising here in the first month. the effectiveness or lack thereof Lions against left-handed batters.
Yeah, he's still getting a feel. We just talked about how good that breaking ball has been for him and how his role changed drastically last year. He went from a guy that just kind of came into a spot to a guy that came in these spots. But it was all about that breaking ball and the feel that he had for it, and he's left a few out over the middle. Got a feeling that he'll end up getting that feel back for that pitch because it is flat out nasty. And look, they're going to need him to be great down in that bullpen, especially with a couple of lefties on the shelf right now.
Base hit into right. And now runners at first and second. And let me ask you, Brad, do you want the lefty-lefty matchup, or do you say we'll roll the dice with Votto against the flamethrower Hicks?
Well, it's hard to say that 100 miles an hour doesn't play against both of them, but I also know when Tyler Lyons is on, he can get them out. But yet you see another pitch just up in the zone, this time a fastball, but Peraza handled that one easily and ends up cutting this lead to 3-1. Pitching can be so frustrating at times, Dan, because it's just that small little adjustment. It's that fraction of an inch that you just let it go a little bit further, or keep it in your hand a little bit more, have your wrist a little bit more behind the ball than around the side of it. And Tyler Lyons is just dealing with a little bit of that right now. He's not far off, but unfortunately in baseball, those little tiny things, if you don't make the adjustment, they'll make you pay for it.
With Votto, good numbers against the Cardinals lefty. A pair of walks today for Votto. .158 this year against left-handed pitching for Joey Votto. .2-0.
Lions falls behind 2-0 for the third time in a row here, and not necessarily the guy that you want to put in an advantageous position.
It's been a couple of the breaking balls that have been had that bite, and others have been just kind of rolling a little bit. And now it's 3-0.
Well, you see the fastball right there at 89. It's got really nice movement, but it doesn't help you out if you're already 2-0. That's a better pitch if you're ahead in the count. You're able to run one in to set up that slider away.
And the 3-0 pitch. Only, the other concern that you have in this spot too is the amount that Lions pitched last night. You come back in a day game. It's, as you know, it's tough to recover.
It certainly is. It certainly, and Tyler Lyons is used to pitching in a lot of games. He got a chance to do that quite a bit last year, back-to-back day game after a night game. But every year is different, and every day is different as a reliever.
Trying to squeeze one more out of Tyler Lyons. 3-2. Fastball, breaking ball.
Right here, I think I go breaking ball. I think he showed you at 3-0 that's what he's got the best feel for, that he can throw it for a strike. I go 3-2 breaking ball right here. I want to get, if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat with my best pitch, and his slider is his best pitch.
He had 17 pitches last night, which was a season high. This will be his 14th. 3-2. Went with the breaking ball, and it's hit out of play.
Joey Votto very good at spoiling things for you. We talked about Matt Carpenter earlier in the game, how if there's a ball barely off the plate, he's not swinging, he'll foul some stuff off. Well, Joey Votto does those things just as well as Matt Carpenter does, and can be a very frustrating at bat.
This might be your ball game right here. Big pitch. 3-2 to Votto, and he walked him. Bases loaded. So Lions back-to-back hits allowed. Now Scooter Gennett. The back-to-back hits, the walk, bases loaded for Gennett. We know he can do some damage. He is 0 for 9 against Tyler Lyons. And that pitch taken high. Crowd a bit restless. Has not thrown a first pitch strike yet to the 4 batters he's seen. The 1-0 pitch to Gennett. Lined into right and a base hit. 2 runs will score, and this game is tied at 3.
Well, fell behind again. You get a fastball up in the zone and drives in 2 runs right here. Mike Matheny was trying to get his guy to get through this, get that one more out, and get some confidence. Even if you can get yourself into a jam, if you can get out of it. Unfortunately today for Tyler Lyons, just wasn't able to get that final out.
It was the first hit for Gennett against Lyons. He's now 1 for 10. And here comes Hicks. We're tied at 3. And it's tied up now 3-3. Our Chevy called to the pen. I think there's a lot of questions for Mike Matheny in this inning. One would be taking Gregerson out after just 1 base hit. The other would be keeping Lyons in for the length that he did. He could have brought in Hicks to face Peraza. There are a lot of different things that flow in an inning, and did not work out for the Cardinals.
No, certainly. And look, Hicks, you know, his stuff plays against anybody. I do understand with Tyler Lyons, you want to show that confidence in him. You believe that you can get that out. But you could tell early on he fell behind every batter. Just didn't have the feel for anything today.
So here's the switch hitting, or rather the left-handed batter, Cliff Pennington. He lifts a fly ball out to left, and Ozuna with the catch. Time to stretch. The Reds have tied it up 3-3. is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. So, which one could help donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and also make a little personal history? Carpenter, Jerko, Fowler tied, all with 99 career home runs. They're trying to do something special for the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Jared Hughes is the new pitcher for Cincinnati. Our Chevy called to the pen. And we're at the top of the lineup. Carpenter 1 for 3 with a double. Interesting inning, how it all unfolded. And not going the Cardinals' way in the top of the 7th. And a ground ball that's pulled foul. There's a lot of ways to look at it too. You had Carlos Martinez at 91 pitches. You could have extended him. Gregerson had gotten the first 2. He had broken a bat, gave up a base hit. Did burn your lefty. You would have to think there's no way that Lions would pitch tomorrow in game 3. Hicks was up. You had a righty coming up in Peraza. So all those things are decisions that the manager has to make, and this time it just didn't work out.
You know, we were talking earlier in the game about all the great options they have down there in the bullpen. A lot of times you want to get to them, right? You want to be able to use all the guys that you have out there, but you also want to show that you have your faith in your guy. When Tyler Lyons is your only lefty down in the bullpen, he's going to find himself in a lot of ball games until everybody comes back, and you want to allow him the rope to go out there and feel like he can get a feel for stuff, and even when things go wrong, that he can get himself out of it. Unfortunately today he just wasn't able to do so, and you see what happens.
And the 3-1 lifted in the air for Phillip Ervin, and he makes the catch. It brings in Yadier Molina. The single to center, walked and grounded out. Molina on the first pitch is swing and a miss. He stole his 58th base of his career. That was back in the first inning. And he's second among all active catchers in steals. He's right behind Russell Martin of Toronto.
Yadi just doing what smart baseball players do, is he took advantage of a situation. Homer Bailey just forgot he was over there at first base, and he got that running lead.
And that's out to left. Will it carry? At the wall, gone! Yadi does it again. The 3rd Cardinal home run. Birds are back on top, and it's 4-3. Fans want the curtain call, and they get it.
It's April. It's early. I got goosebumps already. I love this stuff.
That's pulled foul. 4-3 Cardinals. Home run by DeYoung. A 2-run shot in the 2nd. Fowler in the 6th. And now Yadi here in the 7th.
Well, Hughes threw him a nasty slider the first pitch of the at bat. Tries to go back to the well, gets under this one, and Yachty makes him pay for it.
The 800th RBI of Molina's career.
Things go awry in the top half of the 7th inning. You give back the lead. You end up tied 3-3 coming into the bottom half. And who steps up? Of course it was Yachty.
Who else?
That's right.
It's been that way for a number of years. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Back to Hughes. Bobbled, but he'll underhand Votto for the out. 2 away. Looking ahead to the 8th inning. Schebler, Barnhart, Blandino. $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri thanks to Yadier Molina and his home run here in the 7th. And strike 1 on Ozuna.
Once again, another fastball in on Ozuna. That's the book on him right now. They feel like they can just get on that inner half, maybe open it up away for that slider of Hughes.
The 0-1. Doesn't happen often. Matter of fact, just the 2nd time in Molina's career. He's had a home run and a stolen base in the same game. The last time it happened, ironically enough, against the Reds all the way back in 2010. To be off the top of the foot there for Marcell Ozuna. Let's take a look. That's why you got the pad there.
No doubt. Fastball boring in right there. Makes a good pitch. That thing has got to, even with the pad on, that thing is going to hurt.
Ozuna waving off the medical team. That's Chris Conroy hustling out. So you as a pitcher see that. Where's your next pitch?
I think it's going to be right back there.
You bet.
I'm coming right back in your kitchen with the sink, and there's always that fear factor right on the on the inside of doing that again. Maybe you don't take as aggressive of a hack on that pitch.
You had a great sinker. I saw you do that to guys time and again.
It's one of my favorite things to do in FIFA.
I bet. He sure did. It went right back to it.
You have to. You got to go back to the well. Might even do it again.
What do you think? 99% of the time, if a pitcher can locate, he's going right back there.
You have to. Yeah, because you know how bad it hurt. You know how bad you don't want to do it again. And if you can execute that pitch, it will be effective.
And the 1-2. A strikeout of Ozuna. However, the Cardinals break a brief 3-3 tie. Yadier Molina with home run number 6. Line them up. Birds on top. addition of Giancarlo Stanton. They're 9-9 coming into play. As we mentioned earlier, the second time that Molina has done that in a game. He's done it today, the home run and stolen base. Here is Scott Schebler against Jordan Hicks. It's not just the velocity, but that too.
Are you kidding me with that? I mean, you're geared up as a hitter for 101, 102. Then he drops a first pitch breaking ball at the bottom of the zone.
And now Schebler hit by the pitch. This had pretty good movement on it as well.
It did not exactly, obviously, where Jordan Hicks wanted it to go, but it certainly was moving around quite a bit.
Wow.
It just gets around it. Just gets around that slider a tiny bit instead of staying on top of it. But man, you think about that. You think about that pitch right there, and then you think about the 100 miles an hour that they can throw with sinking action. That's a lot to have to deal with.
There's Tucker Barnhart. 0 for 3. And it could be 2. DeYoung, the turn by Wong in time. And it's a double play.
That is the thing with having a guy like Jordan Hicks who has the sinker that he does. Even if you hit a guy, even if you make a mistake, you know that your next pitch can be the impact one. He gets the ground ball, gets the double play.
Just thinking out loud here, if he has an efficient 8th inning here, he's got a total of 4 pitches. Do you think about keeping him in the 9th?
I do, because of the fact that Bud Norris threw 29 pitches last night. I'm sure that Mike has talked to him and maybe he's good to go. But you did have Jordan Hicks get up a few times yesterday. He's in the game today. So chances are he's going to be hands off tomorrow. If he goes quickly, I would absolutely think about it.
And if it's not Bud Norris, where do the Cardinals go? They've already used Luke Gregerson. Could be Dominic Leone. Could be Greg Holland. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Landino. DeYoung and the out. Nice work, Jordan Hicks. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, going further so you can. Well, something to keep in mind, Jordan Hicks, he's gotten 4 outs on just 7 pitches.
And he's putting on some batting gloves right now.
Wandy Peralta, the Chevy, called to the pen. Yeah, you're a few spots away from Jordan Hicks. Now, if his spot would come up, you'd have a decision to make to try to add to your lead. But if not, you may see Hicks try to get the final 3 outs. Here's Dexter Fowler. He homered back in the 6th inning. 1 for 3. It was his 3rd home run, and he's driven in 8. You know, the amazing thing about Hicks, we talk about the velocity as Fowler skies one into center. Battling the sun, it's Schebler with the catch. As Phil Gosselin, by the way, takes over at third base. But Hicks, he's induced 3 ground ball double plays. So, you know, you think about a guy that is blowing people away with 102, which he's hit on the gun, but it's with sink and getting ground balls.
To me, that's the biggest thing. You see, look around the league. There are guys that throw 98, 99, 100 miles an hour that get beat around because the ball is flat and it's over the middle of the plate. Jordan Hicks just has that natural movement. He can induce that ground ball. You can get away with hitting a guy if you can get a double play right afterwards. He's got that kind of stuff.
He wants to hit.
Yes, he does. I want to see him hit.
The dream of any reliever, any pitcher.
Of course it is. I thought I was going to hit a home run every single time that I was up to bat.
How many hits did he get?
Carry the 10. It was 10 hits.
10 hits in the big leagues?
Yes. More than my high school year, I think. I got DH for a lot. Only in the important games.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to DeYoung. One ball and 2 strikes. That ball put in play off the bat of DeYoung. Out number 2. Of course, Al Hrabosky will tell you about his triple at Wrigley that was wind aided.
No,
so
that's
I was
real.
told.
No, that's a real triple. If it happened, it happened.
Well, you're doing an email segment many years ago at Old County Stadium, and the email asked Al at a pregame show if his triple was wind aided, and I barely survived the segment.
Was he was unhappy?
He was not pleased.
I feel like a lot of home runs that I gave up were wind aided.
Well, of course.
It's a real thing.
Greg Holland is up and throwing, just getting loose. And you talked about the differences in how you get ready. That's a guy that's just throwing to maybe get warm, not hot.
For sure, just in case something happens, get going. But he is obviously not cranking it up down there.
He pops out to end the inning. Cardinals go in order. Mr. Hicks back to work. Still talking about Bobblegate. I'm sure there's more coming up on the post-game show, and there's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Jordan Hicks.
Took a little off.
I mean, even his teammates, they get on that top step. They like to see this young man go.
And when you get a chance to see a special arm, everybody's excited about it. Adam Wainwright has seen a lot of baseball, has done a lot of great things, but these guys are in there watching everything he does. It's special.
Phillip Ervin at the plate. The 1-1 pitch. He's hit 101 on the gun. His highest has been 102 this season. 2-2. The 2-2. The slider, and it's popped up on the infield. DeYoung, one away.
Well, you throw the pitch 98 before this, and then this one, you can see him just leaning back in the box right there. It's going to be very hard for him to barrel this one up when his body's going the other direction. Just a great pitch right there by Jordan Hicks.
Cardinals have talked about a third pitch that he does have, but in this role, fastball, slider, it's dominating. Brad, you've touched upon it the last two nights. He was a starter in the minor leagues, and he comes up here. He can air it out.
He certainly can. Yeah, and he's got a great feel for those two pitches. It's nice to have a third one, and maybe every once in a while you'll find yourself in a spot where you can break it out and maybe work on it here and there. Or maybe there's just a hitter that it's going to be effective with. But right now, that 1-2 punch with that nasty sinking fastball and that slider, I think that's going to be a tough matchup for anybody.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jesse Winker. That slider has been hit and miss so far. He's had a couple of good ones, and others have been wild.
Yeah, there are a couple times he's got around it. Maybe try to throw it too hard. Even a lot of times you got to let the grip do the work and go nice and easy. And nice and easy sounds crazy for a guy that throws 100 miles an hour, but it's all about just staying within yourself and just letting the grip do the work.
2-1. 100 on the gun. It's shown here at the ballpark. The oohs and the ahs. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Get Peraza on deck, and then Joey Votto. And he walked him. Tying run is aboard. Hicks came in. He got the final out in the 7th with 2 runners on. In the 8th, hit the first man, erased on a double play, got a ground out. He had 4 outs and 7 pitches. He's up to 17 now, and Billy Hamilton comes in the game, and things get real interesting.
Definitely adds in another wrinkle here for Jordan Hicks. I mean, he's got an opportunity to close out this game. You're thinking about that. But you've got to pay a ton of attention to Billy Hamilton over there. We know the numbers. We know what he can do. That speed changes a game. Jordan Hicks is going to have to vary his look. He's going to have to pick over there. But he's also going to have to execute pitches here to Peraza.
So 1 out and a runner at first. Cardinals trying to make it 10 wins in a row against Cincinnati, dating back to last year, and 6 in a row to start this season. Almost hit him. And it looks like Peraza pointing towards the dugout as if to say he was hit. And now they say he is. And the Cardinals will certainly want to challenge this, I would think. Looked like it may have just grazed him. This is reviewable.
Yeah, it was
maybe
so
got
close from that angle. I don't know. It's going to be very hard to overturn this. We had a similar play at second base last night where it was just so close that it was hard to go away from the original call. But I know this: if 99 catches you clean, you're not going to be able to act like it didn't hit you right there. So if it got him, it was barely.
See if we can hear it. Listen in. Boy, that is close.
Man, I think that he might have just felt it go by him.
You show the replay to the fans, and they don't like the call. You say it did hit him. Now, again, in New York, you can enhance that, so they would have a better look. But this is exactly the scenario you did not want to see. Votto coming up with a chance to tie it up or maybe put the Reds on top.
The speed of Billy Hamilton over there at first base before that pitch happened might have had a little something to do with that hit by pitch.
Yep.
You try to be quicker to the plate. You try a little slide step there. The arm drops, the ball sails, and all of a sudden you've got runners at first and second.
1 out and 2 on. Tap foul. When Hicks has been in this spot, the opposition 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. We've seen Votto, when he sees room on the left side of the infield, which there is now, and a hard thrower, he'll just punch that ball the other way. Trying to keep Hamilton close at second. Not sure it would even matter. Dexter Fowler very deep in right. Bader in center. Ozuna in left. A base hit. Billy Hamilton 99 out of 100 times scores.
It's going to be hard to get him. It is nice, though, in a jam to have a sinker like Jordan Hicks has. We've seen a couple of double plays.
Nothing in 2. Going slider or fastball, and where you put?
You know what? I think I'm going fastball. I'm going away here. I know that slider, if he's got a great feel for it, it's nice on the inner half if you can bury it back foot. But he's thrown a couple of them he's got around. I think I stay hard.
Here's the 0-2. Exactly what you're talking about. He just missed 100 on the gun, barely outside.
And this is a nice pitch. It's off the plate. It's elevated a little bit. If you get the call, great. But you're not necessarily expecting that. You're hoping that he chases something and gets himself in a position, gets himself out.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Votto. Here it comes. 2-2. That's 100 and then 99, and I mean he is missed by a fraction of an inch.
One of the best eyes in baseball. There are not too many guys that would be able to lay off of that pitch, you know, and Joey Votto is just one. There's also not too many guys in baseball that can hit that pitch, so I guess if you can't hit it, you might as well lay off.
2-2, taken high. Of his 23 pitches have been above 95. A 3-2 pitch. Hicks to Votto. And he walked him. What an at bat by Joey Votto to lay off of some of those pitches.
It certainly was. And you had a couple at the bottom of the zone, some on the outer half. But Joey Votto, he's great at that. He'll spoil some good pitches for you. He's got one of the best eyes around. And Jordan Hicks, after cruising through to get to this ninth inning, runs into a little bit of trouble here.
So the base is loaded. You got the first man. He walked Winker, barely grazed the arm of Peraza as he hit him, and now a walk to Votto, and they're all loaded up for Scooter Gennett. Pitch by pitch to Joey Votto.
Well, you see him get ahead early, 98 down in the zone, 99 called. You have him in the hole, and Joey Votto just taking these pitches that are on the borderline. Jordan Hicks tries to do a little too much right there. Takes 4 in a row, 3 of them just tickling that strike zone.
Wow.
But didn't get the call on any of them.
The most pitches he has thrown, by the way, 27 back on the 10th of April against Milwaukee. And now Scooter Gennett. Ground ball foul.
You got to think that Mike Maddox went out there to tell him something that seems very obvious, but when you're in the moment, it's hard to do. Trust your stuff. It's good enough. You don't have to do too much. When you have stuff like Jordan Hicks has, you don't have to try to throw 102 in a spot to get out Joey Votto or to get a ground ball right here. You just have to let it work. Let your stuff work down in the zone. Use that good sink like we've seen him do before, and just get a ground ball.
5 grand slams. That includes one against the Cardinals a year ago. Votto, by the way, his 4th walk. He's done that 5 times against the Cardinals. 4 walks in 1 game. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball left side. Tough to turn 2. Out there. Out there. Double play. Game over. Hicks did it. And the Cardinals hold on for a 4-3 win. What a turn by Colton Wong, and what a job by Jordan Hicks.
Trust your stuff. Gets the ground ball right here. And Jordan Hicks is pumped up as he should be. Tremendous job by the young man.
It's the 4th double play that Hicks has induced, and 2 today. Our Budweiser play of the game, a big home run off the bat of Yadier Molina. Gave the Cardinals a 4-3 win, and they hold on. And now St. Louis, Brad, will look for a sweep tomorrow.
Absolutely building some momentum. Had a battle in this one. Yadi shows up again. Jordan Hicks with a great day, and Carlos Martinez was fantastic.
Post-game show, Missouri Lottery. Cardinals Live is next.